what's going on, everybody's Ultimate Gals here. We got Super Dave Miller, one of the best refs on the independent scene. And, sir, first thing, I want to congratulate you. You got to count the 10 on Ric Flair's final match. How did that feel? Because I know you're a Ric Flair fan.
It's been a month, and it still feels like a dream.
I'll bet.
It's tremendous feeling.
Was that heart just going when you were running out there?
Yes. I was just concentrating, don't fall.
Exactly.
Be Charles Robinson, Titus.
Don't be Shockmaster. Oh, Ty, man, you would have slid. You would have slid.
I was just going 100 miles an hour trying not, and just thinking, don't fall, don't fall.
I said, when you get done, I just need, like, this is where I'm changing out.
That's cool. Later, we'll be through in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Hey, no problem.
I just want to drop my stuff.
Yeah, no problem.
Quick.
No problem.
don't want food and drink in here.
I promise I won't have any.
We don't have any in here.
Besides,
Yeah.
besides baby food, but that's.
It's independent wrestling, y'all. You never know what's going to happen. This is the ladies' locker room, too. So how long you been repping now, Super Dave?
17 years.
Wow, that long now, man.
It's been 7 years.
So I've been watching you for about 8 now, so I knew it'd been a while.
Yeah, I started in Texas in 2005.
Oh, still out. What part of Texas?
I started in Arlington with
Okay.
PCW.
I definitely see that.
Yeah, Lance Hoyt Archer was my trainer.
Right. And APOC and all them out there.
Right, that's where I met APOC, and Tim Storm. Him and Tim Storm were still the Dark Circle.
Oh, wow.
I used to get the referee with them when they were the Dark.
So I lived around Beaumont for the longest time.
Okay.
You know Beaumont. You know Hurricane Prime? You know the guys at Hurricane Prime? They used to be nerdy guys at the comic shop we played cards with back in the day. So, besides the Flair match, what are some other big matches that stand out to you?
Down in Houma, Louisiana, I did Jack King and Houston Carson for the NWA World Title. That was a big one.
That was for Elite?
Yes.
Okay, see, I forgot
When
about
they were
that.
still in the NWA.
Right.
I mean, on the same card as Flair, I did the Briscoes and the Von Erichs.
How was that, man?
It was really good.
Because I love the Briscoes and the Von Erichs. You know, I enjoy them, but I understand why you don't see them that often because getting them here from Hawaii.
Right. And the Briscoes are stars.
But dude, they should be nationwide household names, and they're not, which is sad.
They're so underrated. I mean, they just need some more exposure. And I'm hoping that being signed with ROH, I'm hoping that there's a platform that they'll be front and center and people can see just how really good they are. Man, I've been involved. Some of my favorite matches are probably people that the mainstream people may not know. It's all moments.
Well, tell us someone, because I mean that's the whole point is trying to
Like-
educate people on the deep South Indy scene. Because you're a staple of it, man.
I appreciate that. It's just anytime that the crowds were out of control
Mhm.
and completely bought in, because I love feeling heat.
Yes,
And there was a guy, Franco D'Angelo, fought the Monster Bash.
I know Franco.
So Franco was fighting Bash, and Mike Page was at ringside, and the referee goes down, and there was a whole bunch of where Franco had him, and there was no referee to count, and then he gets hit with the golf club, and then the ref shows up. I come in, I run, I slide in, I count to 3, and after it's over, Franco's pleading with me, and I was like, well, this is what I just came in, and you were down.
right?
He boots me, puts me in his finisher, which is an F5.
Oh
And I'm
man.
laying there, and the crowd starts chanting, "He deserved it." And I'm thinking, this is so great.
Because I'm assuming you're a lifelong fan. I'm assuming. When did you first get into wrestling?
First, I watched it when I was a little kid. My mom introduced me to it when I was about 5.
And what fed was that?
That was world class. Well, what was world class? It was Saturday Night Wrestling.
Okay,
I remember all I can remember about that time. I knew who Wahoo was because we knew Wahoo,
of course.
and Ivan Putski.
Oh, dude.
Ivan Putski had long wild hair.
Yep.
He'd do feats of strength where they'd break cinder blocks with sledgehammers on him.
The Polish Power.
Yeah, and the Blackjacks would come out and mess with him. He'd bring toys to the ring,
Mhm.
and the Blackjacks would come out and mess with him. They'd break his toys, and then Ivan Putski would just go crazy. And I remember that as a kid. But then Saturday Night Live started coming on, so I gravitated away from wrestling into Saturday Night Live.
And what era Saturday Night Live
It was
was
the
it?
beginning.
Oh, see, that's right before I started watching.
I mean,
That-
I'm
that's
old.
I'm not
old.
much older than you. So.
I'm season 1.
Okay.
So I mean, I got into.
Dude, you saw some classics.
Yeah, I mean, so I watched Saturday Night Live. Well, my little brother was a wrestling fan. He's 8 years younger than me.
Mhm.
And in 1982, I just happened to come home from work on a Saturday night, and he had wrestling on. And it was the night before they were having in Dallas, World Class.
Mhm.
It was the night before they were going to have a big Star Wars event at Reunion Arena. It was going to be Kerry and Flair, 2 out of 3 falls.
Oh,
Well,
man.
I'm messing with my little brother about wrestling.
Yeah.
And my mom tells me to leave him alone. But as I'm eating dinner, Ric Flair's annoying me. Like, who is that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
And Kerry and Kevin were having a training match, and that was the premise of what was going to go on, is they were drawing names to who they were going to train with. And Kerry drew Kevin. So his hands up, and Kerry would drop kick his hands. And Flair's like, hit him in the mouth, Von Erich. That's what it's going to be like to be with. You know how Flair is.
Yeah, of course.
So Flair was really annoying me. And then late night, Brian Adias was who Flair drew.
Right.
My brother explained to me that was Kerry's best friend. They went to school together.
Yeah.
Big family. And Flair used him up.
Yeah, of
I mean,
course.
nothing about training. Flair was just using him up. And Kerry, they were having to hold Kerry back from jumping in the ring. My little brother was into it. Well, a little light comes on in my head that tomorrow's Sunday and I can't get out of the house unless my room's clean.
Right.
So I told my little brother, hey, you clean my bedroom, I'll take you to that tomorrow night. I had no intentions of taking my little brother wrestling matches, right?
Right.
Well, he did such a good job. My mother said, you're going to take him. So we go down there and we got tickets to the box office.
Real quick, how much were tickets back then?
I can't, maybe $15.
I'll say I knew they were cheap. Yeah,
It had, but we were on the last row at the very top of Reunion Arena.
Oh man.
And but I could Harley Race versus King Bundy's on that show. I didn't know who either one of them guys were.
Was Brody on that one? Was that one?
No, Brody was not on that show.
Brody was the next one. The next Star Wars, I think.
Yeah, I think Brody was like, in '83 at the International Star Wars.
That's right.
I think that's when he tag teamed with Kerry
That's right.
against the Birds. But anyway, there was David and Kevin versus Kabuki and the Dragon for the All Asian titles.
I forgot about the dragon. Oh man.
Jose Lothario, there were some women. But by the time we get to Kerry and Flair, I'm in now.
Oh yeah.
And I hollered my throat out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was coughing up blood.
Oh,
my throat was so raw from yelling. And I was in. And then we went back for Christmas, and that's when they slammed the cage. And then we didn't miss a big event after that going forward. And I was in, and that was August 15th of '82. So I've been a hardcore fan ever since.
So 40 years, man.
40 years.
40 years. And see, I started around the same time, late 70s, early 80s, when I started watching, but it was Mid-South because where I grew up at. I grew up in Mid-South territory, but I watched World Class. We got World Class like syndicated, and I watch it every week.
We started getting Mid-South, I want to say, in '84.
Okay, so it was at the peak.
Yeah, we were starting to get Mid-South in '84. When we got cable, we had Southwest Championship Wrestling on USA.
The Blanchards.
Yes.
Okay.
Bob Sweetan hated Eric Embry.
Wasn't Adrian Adonis there?
Adrian Adonis was coming through. Got my introduction to Gino.
Oh, Gino Hernandez. Such a great talent.
And that was that was fun. Scott Casey was on there.
Casey, yep.
That was fun. I enjoyed the Southwest Championship Wrestling, and then we started getting WWF on USA also.
Mm-hmm.
But then once a month on, I think it was a Tuesday night, I could be wrong, we'd get the Madison Square Garden show. Because it was the Madison Square Garden Network that showed on USA.
That's right.
And we watched the night that Hogan won the championship. We didn't even know Hogan was going to be on it. But I saw Snoopy jump off the cage. But we enjoyed watching it. And we noticed it was different because there was no. You go to the Sportatorium, you might wait 15 minutes between matches. They did not one after the other. But the WWF product, they get them right to the ring. But we enjoyed all that. So we saw Hulk Hogan beat the Sheik, and
so I didn't see that until years later.
and then we started getting. Of course, we started watching Georgia Championship Wrestling. So we had the TBS show, and
Ole Anderson and
Orndorff was the national champion when we started watching it. Jake the Snake was still wearing the karate pants, and Jake the Snake was tremendous promo. I mean, you believed because he didn't yell.
Jake, he didn't need to.
I mean, it's the Legion of Doom. He was in the Legion of Doom,
and
the Road Warriors would hit the ring and just beat the snot out of whoever was in the ring. But you'd hear Iron Man.
The crowd would go nuts.
Oh, it was awesome! And just that little studio, but it was so much fun to be a wrestling man. I bought my first VCR just for the sole purpose of Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair promos.
That's what I got a whole VCR, a Betamax at that.
I couldn't afford anything but a Beta. I couldn't afford VHS.
Hey, you know what though? Betamax here, man. Betamax. You probably still have your Betamax tapes, don't you?
Not anymore, but I did convert as many of them as I could to DVD.
Mine got taken by somebody we both know, and we're not going to mention his name, but he might begin with a B and end with an X. But yeah, Betamax. So y'all don't know, Betamax was before VHS. Looked better, sounded better. You just couldn't put as much on the tape.
Yeah, Sony Sony wanted to not share the technology, so that's why VHS took off and Betamax went to the wayside.
But it looks so much better, and it held up so well. So
And it was a lot less expensive.
yeah. So I'm assuming you were a tape trader back in the day. Then
I never really did tape trading.
you did. Okay, I figured maybe you were like an early subscriber to Observer, got into tape trade through the back pages. Okay.
No.
So when did
I
you,
didn't know it was a thing until
the
later.
90s?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you discover the Observer then?
I think I'd heard about the Observer. Not to the internet. I mean,
Oh wow.
when we got off of AOL and actually started going to web pages.
AOL.
And I got my wrestling news from a website called Scoops.
I remember Scoops.
Al Isaacs.
Al Isaacs, yes.
And I really enjoyed Al Isaacs.
He was so good because you knew he wouldn't BSing you. You knew he was going to give you what he heard.
And most of what he reported actually happened.
Right. Whereas with Dave, 50-50 with
And the
Dave.
guy was, I think he was a stand-up comedian.
I think he was.
But
Because remember he always used to report that Yokozuna was joining DX. Towards the end there, he's like, Yokozuna's joining DX this week. I'm like, really? Yokozuna's going to join DX?
Well, I enjoyed that was my go-to for wrestling news. But I was on AOL. Heck, I had Prodigy.
Wow. Prodigy, really?
Yeah.
That dates us, man. Prodigy.
Man.
So, real quick, we're going to wrap it up in a minute here, but what is like some of the standout matches you've read? Besides the Flair match, of course, what's something else that just, and it be, people out there heard of, somebody nobody's heard, just something that stands out in your memory?
Robert Evans and Wally Darkman in Sulphur Springs, Texas.
I don't know either one of those names.
I told you that Robert Evans is RD Evans, was in Ring of Honor.
Okay, I do know who you're
Became
talking
a
about.
writer for WWE. He works
Yeah.
for Ring of Honor.
Okay.
He works for Impact.
Okay. I love Impact. That's my favorite fit.
But it was a great match. Immediately, Evans always wore long tights with trunks over them.
That's an odd one.
And immediately, he got pantsed.
Mhm.
But I counted 3. And he's standing there with his trunks down around it. And he's wearing tights. But
Yeah.
And he's like, he had them. They're all the way around my ankles. So I restarted the match. And Evans is the heel.
Yeah.
So I restarted the match, and they go about 30 minutes. It's a really good match, light heavyweight. And Evans rolls him up, 2 handfuls of tights. And I'm down on the shoulder, so I don't see it. I count to 3. And the crowd loses it, absolutely loses it. And they're coming up, and there's no barrier, so they're up to the ring. And people are running up and yelling, and there's a little girl crying. And Wally goes, little girl, tell that referee what you saw. And she goes, you can't do that, you can't. And I mean, I'm trying to laugh because hysterical kids amuse me because my daughter used to be that way. And then if I laughed, it made it worse. Don't laugh at me. So I'm trying not to bust out about this kid. And then the grown people were running up yelling. So the timekeeper, Jamie Aller.
Okay.
Jamie Aller was
I know the name.
for AMW in
Yeah.
Sulphur Springs. He says, go take the belt away from Evans and say we're holding it up for the next show. So I run over and I snatch the belt away from him. But I mean, those people were hot. They wanted to kill me.
Now, have you ever had a fan come after you, like outside the
In
building?
Homa, not outside of the building.
In the building in Homa. Now, I have some wild crowds. If y'all don't know, Homa is very, very, what's a bit nice way to put it? Very, very.
They got one brain and they take turns sharing it.
I was gonna say, you know, has 10 teeth and 25 legs. Front row at Homa show.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what, we're joking. Homa, Louisiana is my favorite place to referee.
I heard they're hot crowds.
Oh God, they're the best. They're the absolute best. But Houston Carson and Christian Blake
Oh man, good name.
were in a match, and I think Christian won the match, but he was all in the ropes. And the referee counted, DJ counted it, and I ran down and told them what happened, and they reversed the decision. We started matching. Anyway, the crowd was pissed, and this woman said, "I don't know where they got your old butt from, and I'm cleaning it up for this.
Yeah, you don't have to.
But you need to go back. I hope you effing die." Then she came around the guardrail and was coming towards me, and security got her and took her back over. And here's the funny part. My wife was taking pictures at ringside, and I wanted personalized license plates.
Mhm.
And my wife said the one thing to me that you probably should never say, you don't need personalized license plates. So I'm getting personalized license plate because I got a point to prove now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm up there and I can't get Super B. Nobody, it's not available. And Miller's not available.
Okay.
And I'm going through all of these things and I'm about to give up. And I go, what about NWA Ref? And it was available. So NWA Ref.
Is it still in your vehicle now?
No.
Okay. I figured it's been a while, so.
Well, I'll tell you, it's parked out in the parking lot,
Uh-huh.
And I tell my wife, I said, hey, I want you to go out there and get the truck and bring it around back. I'm not going out the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that woman wanted to kill me. Now, after the title match with Houston Carson and Jax, I got to be a big part of that finish. And it was one of those where I got to blow up. I got to blow up and go off before I came into the corner and disqualified him. But the crowd got behind me after that, so it all comes around. But I was coming home from work one night, and I worked in Tallulah, Louisiana, and I had to go between Tallulah into Vicksburg.
Right.
And I guess I was speeding, and one of our customers at the truck stop was a Delta Marshal. And he called me, sent me a message, and he said, hey, Dave, just had a truck blow through Delta going about 90. And the tag said NWA Ref. Think you can slow it down for me? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to go back to a regular license plate.
Well, I got one last question for you now. You're Super Dave Miller. Is that inspired by Super Dave Osborne?
No.
Okay, I was just curious. I'm a huge Super Dave Osborne fan.
I had a Superman tattoo on my arm.
Okay.
A little tattoo, and I got tattoos back before they were cool.
Right.
And
Before everybody had them.
And my parents darn sure didn't know. Nobody really knew I had them. If I didn't show you, you didn't know I had them.
Yeah.
I got attacked leaving work in Dallas in 1993, and they shot me and left me for dead. Put a bullet through the back of my head, shattered my jaw, came out under my eye. So the doctors at Baylor Hospital started calling me Super Dave because I got shot through the head and lived. That's where Super Dave comes from.
Okay, I was wondering.
So,
Man, and you can't even tell it. Like, you know,
I got lucky. I shouldn't have lived.
Right. It's something or somebody watching out for you.
Even the doctors at Baylor Hospital said there was no medical reason that I lived. They said, we're good, we're not that good.
Wow.
They had to give me 14 units of blood and platelets.
Wow.
This whole side of my face is reconstructed. The doctor that reconstructed my face was the number 2 plastic surgeon in Dallas.
Okay.
He teaches at Southwest. He was a teacher at Southwest Medical Center.
Uh-huh.
And it just happened to be his night in a rotation. But they did it in the middle of the night. We got his team together. And he later told me, because I would go in for revisits.
Yeah.
And they had like a photo studio, like you take your family to get pictures in. And they take tons of pictures of me. And I finally asked him after about 2 or 3 visits, I said, why do y'all take so many pictures? Y'all do that with everybody? He said, oh, no. He goes, I use you as a teaching tool.
Huh.
He said, your kind of case is why we become plastic surgeons. All the vanity surgeries are how we pay for that.
Right. Because you were a life or death thing, where most people, they want to get their nose done or something. You were life or death.
And he goes, and we use you as a teaching tool because it don't normally turn out that good.
And see, I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me. You can't tell.
That's where the whole Super Dave thing.
Okay, I was curious because like I said, I grew up on Super Dave Osborne. I just assumed you were a fan.
I did too. I watched Bizarre.
Yes. I'm a little young for it, but I remember seeing reruns.
It's on Showtime.
Yeah. We didn't get cable till 1990s. So
yeah.
I grew up in a very rural area. But dude, thank you, Dave.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
for having
it.
me.
Hey, no problem, man. And everybody else, watch the channel. We got a bunch of matches. You'll see Mr. Super Dave Bella here, reffing the matches tonight. And you know, if you see him on a card, you'll have the best ref in the South. Probably the best ref in independent wrestling, to be honest.
You're too kind.
Dude, you are, man.
You're too kind. I appreciate that.
But thank you again, sir. And thank the cameraman back here. We got Mr. Coach James Bayless back here doing cameraman. And we'll be out, everybody.